Hello. Today, I'm just gonna make a video about how I absolutely failed Inktober. I went into this, doing the animation prompt by this YouTuber here that I can unfortunately not remember the name of. Even though I watch them quite often, I have an issue with names. For day one, it was a turnaround. So for this, October, I wanted to do 2 prompts at once. And this was a dumb decision for multiple reasons, but partially because this was the first Inktober I think I've actually participated in. I got 8 days into it and then was completely drained. And this is also going on while I'm working on my portfolio for college, and it was just a bad idea in general. I'm also working on a comic book. I just love adding things to my plate, apparently. But for Goretober, I was doing Goretober as well as this animation prompt, and I decided to mix a few of them together throughout this video. So I'm going to put a content warning for, just disturbing imagery. I don't think there's anything graphic that I drew that I have on recording, because for a lot of them I did separately. I did 2 prompts a day for at least 5 of these, and then I lost my last prompt in my recordings. Day 2 was flushed and embarrassed. I think it was flushed or embarrassed, and I realized I hadn't drawn any 98 Trigun fan art in a while, and I hadn't animated him in a bit since I finished my last animatic. So I went in and I decided to draw him. And this, I guess, is also a video about my animation process, now that I think about it. Which is ridiculously complicated for no reason, and I could definitely make it easier on myself. I've been using the same 3 brushes for like 6 months as well. And I'm not sure if you could tell in the first one, but I used a different brush than I usually did, and I ended up hating it. So for the second one, I went back to the HMO brush, which I'm sure, HIMO brush, which I'm sure is pronounced some way, but I don't want to pronounce it wrong, so I'm just gonna say HIMO. I say an outrageous amount, even when these things are scripted. But I also decided that these would be colored even though it's Inktober, because I really don't like doing unfinished pieces. I don't know why, and I'm sure I'm gonna have to get over that at some point, but this month was not the point on which I get over it. And then here you can see where I make it a little more complicated for myself for no reason. I give the glasses their own separate folder layer so that I didn't have to erase his face and redraw it over and over again, which I guess probably made it less complicated, but in the moment did not feel like it. Just so that it could stay consistent. And I'm not sure if I keep his beauty mark on there. I think I take it off because it changes, because I couldn't keep that consistent. And then usually for Vash, I color pick, which is a bad idea because his colors never stay consistent throughout the show. Because a color theory, haha, how fun. So I ended up just going through shades of red for his jacket. And usually for his arm, I do a purple, kind of darker one. But I think, yeah, I went with a red undertoned one. I also love his completely 1,000-yard stare for no reason. But I completely failed Inktober. That's what this video's about. I completely failed Inktober. It was really, really bad. Like, I didn't do awful at it, but I noticed every day got a little more low effort. And just a little more like a chore instead of something I was doing for fun. I think this one I really did have fun with, though, because I just enjoy drawing fan art, which is something that I only realized recently. Like, very recently. This one I'm gonna give a trigger warning for, I guess, strangulation? I wouldn't be 100% sure on what this is, because he's technically not human, and I don't really think it strangles him that bad. I guess he just gets hooked off stage. And this was a idea that my friend came up with, the friend that this character is actually based off of, because I wanted to use all of my circus OCs that I had just made based off of my friends that I'm also using for my portfolio. I keep forgetting that there's a T in there. For my portfolio. And so we were talking about what the heck to do for the tripping one and for the hanging one for Goretober and for the animation prompt that I was working with. And so he came up with this idea where how a character gets hooked off stage, but they get hooked off by like the neck and end up hanging there. Goretober was really fun for me because I kind of stopped doing gore around 2 or 3 years ago, just because I wasn't really having fun with it anymore. I used to draw it constantly. I got really good at it at one point, and I think I lost a lot of my skill set for it. Oh, and then I got lazy with the sketch on this one, so I had to go back and I had to trace his face over a bunch of times. Which I end up doing a lot throughout this series of GIFs that I make. Which probably isn't the best way to do it, and I'm sure that's not how, like, professional animators do anything, but I am not a professional yet. And I was shortcutting this as much as possible, because an animation a day is surprisingly draining, even if you really, really like animating. Like, I started animating January of 2024, so January of this year. I'm not sure if that dates this video, I'm not sure when it'll be out. But January of this year, and I really found that I had a passion for it. I really enjoyed animating more than I did just regular illustrations and paintings, because I loved giving actual fluidity and life to my characters instead of just hinting at fluidity and life in comics and stuff. So I forgot where I was going with this. But animating every day can get draining, even if you really enjoy it. I found myself kind of losing a bit of a spark for the characters that I had created, so that's why I stopped on day 8, because I simply didn't want to screw myself over with that. Because if I'm going to college for animation, then I would like college to be the thing that drives the passion out of me. All jokes, of course. And then this is where you can really tell that I had kind of not cared as much. I was kind of rushing things. I think I did this at like 10 o'clock at night. Because I forgot to do it earlier. And I've been working on some sets for a local play. So I ended up just being extremely busy for most of this month. And just didn't have time to put as much effort into the later ones as I did with the first 3. This is also a character, but it's not a character from the circus, it's just a random character that I have. He hasn't had a name in forever. I do think that we named him. I'll put the name on screen if I can find it. And I go in and I play with some of the hues for his blush for a little bit. And I had never actually colored him because I usually do him traditionally, and I don't like doing color traditionally. So I had to play around with colors for a little bit. And then, oh, this next one got really bad. This is pushing a heavy object. And yeah, for a bit you can tell that I get up, and this is sped up by like 16. So I must have forgotten to pause this one. But yeah, pushing a heavy object, I think is when I was like, okay, I can't do this for much longer because the effort is getting lower and lower, and I'm just gonna burn myself out. Which I've already done multiple times this year. And I was, for a lot of these, you can notice later, like with this one, that I didn't film the sketching of it like I did with the first 3. Or with the first 2. I think the third one is where I stopped filming the sketching, because it's Inktober, and I don't really like filming my sketching process, because it's so messy, and it doesn't make sense most of the time. Like, the sketches that you're seeing with this one are 100% cleaned up. With the animation I did of Vash, I think I did those sketches like 3 times before it was clean enough that I could record it. So I ended up not recording them. I do still color them though. This one's really flat. All of them are flat. I didn't really do any shading for any of them. Except for the mannequin guy. I ended up going back later and shading that in because I wanted to use it for my portfolio. This one was putting on clothes, and since I saw this prompt, I had this image of a dude trying to put on pants and absolutely struggling. I didn't really do it the way that I wanted to in my brain. He was gonna hop around a lot more, but I can only repeat myself so much. This got really boring and really sucked the passion out of it after a while, so I just did something a little more simple. That foot, his left foot, or the foot that's on the right side of the screen, gave me so much trouble. Like, an insane amount of issues. It did not look right, which you'll see as I work on it. I go back and I fiddle with the foot a lot. Which I thought that the bunching of the pants would be the worst part of this, or keeping his scars consistent or anything, but no, it was specifically that foot. You can see me struggle a lot here with the line weight and the variation, which is something I've been struggling with a lot lately, which is kind of concerning because it used to be something that I had pretty down packed, but I guess that means improvement is underway. Hopefully. Yeah, and you can see me there fiddling with the foot, which goes a lot faster at 16 times speed. Who would have guessed? And then this is another character that isn't from the circus, but is just a random dude. I don't even think that I've drawn him before. I think I just wanted to draw a character that looked like him. He ended up looking like one of my friends, actually. So, happy accidents, I suppose. But that's the summary of my Inktober. And I'm gonna go over this voice clip and see if it works at all, and if not, then I'll re-record and you'll have never heard this. I hope you guys have a nice however long it takes for me to make a new video. We recently almost reached 300, or we might have reached 300 by now. Thank you. That's crazy, and I don't know why. But I appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please go check out the animatic that I made. It took me 2 weeks, which is really nothing for animation. But, bye-bye!